I had a few people jump on. That's good. Got some cool stuff to share with you guys today. So let's see, what are we at? 4:01. We'll give it a couple more minutes. We seem to have a lot of people jumping in. Looks like a lot of you guys are driving or something. Ravi, hopefully you're not driving because you're staring right at the camera.
No, I'm just fine right now.
Okay, all right. Sai, how's it going, man?
Oh, pretty all right. How about you?
Good.
That deal I got from the Facebook Marketplace closed out Friday, so excited about that one. It was $9,000 and free lead source. So really
wait. So did you buy that one to keep or did you wholesale?
I wholesale that one.
And made 9?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got it off of Facebook Marketplace, and then you wholesaled it to somebody a cash buyer that was on your list.
Yeah. Well, my relative, the person I work with, my relative, she bought a cash buyer.
Oh, nice.
And the spread was about a little bit over 10, but I paid her $1,250 out of it. So nice. It was about $9,500.
Dude, that's awesome.
So yeah, that was thanks for that. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Like we do a lot with Facebook Marketplace. It's a good resource. You just got to be Johnny on the spot, you know. Got Jack just jumped in here. Give it a couple more minutes. Look like we got some people coming in. I feel like there's always a lot of people when I'm on, which I like. So what we're going to talk about today, everybody, is I want to go through. You know, we keep expanding our my virtual assistant team, and every time I have a rule. So every time that somebody quits or gets fired, if that person's not boots on the ground, we replace that person with a virtual assistant. And it's working amazing. I think we've cut out of my annual payroll, I think we're up to like, it's over 200,000 a year, 250 grand a year we've cut out of my payroll in the last 12 months just with virtual assistants. So it's getting pretty crazy. That's a lot of money. And it might be higher than that. I think I'm guessing low. So like, for example, we're going to talk about, I just hired a new maintenance coordinator, and that maintenance coordinator is, he's making $6 an hour. And of course, there's no benefits. We'll jump into his thing, but I mean, that's a pretty expensive position to replace. We just hired a property management person at $6 an hour. So we'll go through all that. So let's see who I want to start with here. I'm going to go through every single position and what they do and who they are and how much they make. Let's see here. I'm going to start with Daisy because she's my first one. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Somebody else is on the iPad. Who's on the iPad? Who is that?
It's me.
Oh, Tara. Hey. Why doesn't your name come up?
I don't know. It should be my picture. I don't know.
Okay. Hey, Tara. So, hey. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So I want to talk about, I want to go through all the stuff that, you know, every single virtual assistant we have and what they do, how much they make. And then I want to go through like some of their, you know, how we track all their stuff that they're doing. And I think this will give you guys some really good ideas and what you can stretch your virtual assistants to do for you, because they can do anything. As long as it doesn't require boots on the ground, it should be a virtual assistant on your team. In my opinion, you know, you take out people like Amanda and people like Tyler, but in my opinion, you know, virtual assistants are better than American workers. I mean, that's just the facts. I think part of it is their work ethic, their their DNA, the way that they wanted things done. But also, one advantage they have is they sit, they're interrupted at their house. They sit in front of a computer. They don't really, do lunch breaks, and they don't, they don't do a lot of that stuff. They don't, so they're just getting less disruptions. But the most important piece is they have an amazing system to follow, and that helps them be very, very productive. So let's jump into this. So first of all, the first one to cover, we have a gal. Her name's Daisy. A lot of you guys have probably heard me talk about Daisy over the years. Daisy's been with me for 5 years, maybe, 5 at least. Daisy works about 45 hours a week, and she works Monday through Friday, and she's available during normal business hours for us in the Central Time Zone. Some of the daily tasks she does: she reviews vacancies daily. She updates 30 days, the leasing activity. She does updates the guest cards and formats that. She sends emails via MailChimp. So I actually have Daisy sending emails to my tenants. So what we do is we email. I have about 1,100 units under management. Okay, 1,100 properties under management, and we email our tenants 3 times a week. Okay, we try to build rapport with our tenants. We try to build a bond with them, and so 3 times a week we email them, and one time a week we email them job openings. So I have a VA that her job is to find job openings in the Quad Cities. And then every time there's a job opening, she compiles that. And I think she does jobs. It might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but one of those days she does jobs. So, and I think I have, let me see if I can pull this up here. I want to give you guys a little more detail if I can here. So she, let's see here. See if I can find this. If I can't, no big deal. No, I can't find it. No big deal. So one of the times job openings. So we search for jobs. We send an email to our tenants, and our tenants are actually getting jobs from those emails. And then they're sending feedback thanking us for those leads. One email per week is just like where to save money, like saving money on anything. Like if there's something they could be doing at their house that they could be saving money, like, simple stuff like teaching them how to, if you're going to leave your house and you're going away for the weekend, turn your thermostat down to, 67 in the winter, so that you're not heating the place. In the summer, kick it down a few degrees. And we send them like stuff like, by doing that, you could save yourself, $700 a year off of your yearly power bills. And then one other day per week, we send them like fun stuff to do, like with the family, like different little odds and ends, special things about the Quad Cities. Believe it or not, the Quad Cities is a little transient. We get a lot of workers that come in for a year or two with John Deere or the Arsenal. So we try to teach them some cool stuff about what to do. And if we see like a special, like, hey, kids eat free at this restaurant, you could go do that. So we're always trying to add value to their lives. And we have a VA run the whole thing. All I did when I had the idea to do this, all I did was had a quick conversation with Kaylin that runs my property management. And I just said, hey, I want 3 emails a week. I want to add value. Here's the topics, but feel free to bounce things off of me if you want to change. And then have a VA pull those topics and send the emails. That's it. That's all I did. And it's building amazing rapport. And during COVID, when a lot of people were struggling to collect rent as landlords, we were not. We were operating at a very high collection rate, one of the highest we've ever seen. So the crazy thing is we actually improved by doing this. The reason I decided to do this was because I was concerned that rents would stop coming in. Remember you guys, like 3-4 months ago, that was the big concern. Like nobody's going to be able to pay rent. So I thought, well, I better jump in front of it, build rapport. and make sure and it actually backfired the opposite direction and worked really, really well. And now we're never stopping it. And it cost me pennies a week. Like they don't work on this. They don't have hardly any time in these emails, a couple hours total for all three for the week. So you're talking, if I pay somebody $10 an hour, you got $20 in the whole thing. Okay. So, what else? So Daisy also sends lead Sherpa text messages and replies. She manages our vacancy list on Smartsheet. She updates daily metrics reportings of Lance. So every single day, we have a guy on our team, he does punch listing, and his name's Lance. He does punch listing and blueprinting for all of my houses. So when we buy a house, Lance goes there, sketches the house, builds a blueprint. Anybody that's been in my office has seen that. Or if you have my rehab manual, you've seen that as well. But I make Daisy his boss. So Daisy, a VA who's never met him, who's never been in the U.S., is managing people for me, keeping them accountable. The other thing she does, she enters seller leads. So anytime we get a lead in, a lot of times there's missing data on the lead sheet. I have Daisy get back a hold of that seller and fill all that in. Daisy also reviews possible acquisition lead search by April and enter into Podio. April's another VA. We'll cover her in a second. So she's helping April with acquisition stuff as well. She monitors Leslie's work. Daisy's my top VA. So she's monitoring and running other VAs. So April's a VA, Leslie's a VA. She's watching their work. She's copied on their emails. She coaches them when she sees something wrong. She also lists, so Daisy, every time we get a house under contract, Daisy sees that. She sees it go under contract. She's copied. Then she lists that property on Facebook for wholesale. She lists it on Craigslist, and then she answers all the leads. She also lists it on Zillow. So she's automatically trying to wholesale the property as soon as she gets the lead, as soon as she sees we're under contract. She removes leads from the mailing list via PLM and Go Big Printing. So if we get people that say, hey, stop mailing me, she takes them off the list. Daisy also is my picture auditor. If I have a picture person that person doesn't work directly for my company, he's outsourced. We pay him $25 to go take pictures of a house. And he just takes like 40 pictures of a house. When it's done and rehabbed or done and turned over, he goes to the house and we pay him $25 a house. Daisy audits his work. And if she sees a picture like, hey, why was this cabinet door open? Why didn't you shut that cabinet door? Or, hey, I see a paper towel wadded up in the corner over here. Or, hey, what's this foreign object right here coming out of the wall? Like, she's the auditor. So then she'll send them back, or she'll say, hey, this photo doesn't have any pictures of the bathroom, or this house, there's no pictures of the bathroom. So she'll send the photo guy back. You missed a picture, go get it, send it back and upload it. It's been a great, having her audit the pictures has been awesome. Pictures, you guys, are really, really important. When it comes to selling a house, when it comes to renting a house, it's very, very important. Okay, let's see here. She also goes into, for closing, our closing process when we sell a house or buy a house. She does what she needs to with adding it or subtracting it out of Appfolio. She updates management fees and makes sure that it gets added to our lawn and snow sheet. When you buy as many houses as we do, you always have to be aware of mowing grass. If you don't mow the grass in time, the city comes by and sends you a fine. If it snows, then the city comes by and gives you a fine for not clearing the walks. So you have to stay on top of snow and lawn. And so she does that. We have we built an app in Podio that manages all of our lawn and snow care. So she manages that. So she also makes all of our offers on the MLS. So what we do is so she doesn't actually make the offer. She tells us what to offer. And then we make the offer through Trina, who is the real estate agent. So Daisy just fills out, she takes all of the potential deals, she puts them in a spreadsheet. We have a multiplier. It tells us what to offer. She sends that back. And those are the offers we make. Let's see here. She does some stuff for Lewis, preparing owner worksheets. She posts ads in Indeed when we hire somebody. When we have to hire an in-person, when we need a boots on the ground person, somebody that has to be in the office, Daisy places the ads on Indeed to do that. But that's pretty much it. That's what she does. She works 45 hours a week. She makes $10 an hour. She's been with me for 5 years. Okay. Any questions on anything Daisy does? So Daisy probably does more than anybody. And she puts on here 45 hours. I personally think she works more than that. That's what she turns in. But she would be considered rich in the Philippines with what she makes. Okay. Hazel is the next gal. Now Hazel is she is my human resources VA. She is in charge of whenever I need to find a new VA. She is the one we go to. So her job is I say, hey, I need a social media VA to run all my social media. Then she would go out and find that person and interview them. And then she manages that VA from then on out. So she manages their time, checks on their work, does training. Like, for example, right now, she is bringing on and hiring a VA for texting and cold calling. And she's taking our virtually unemployed 2.0 training system, and she's training that VA for a week to do those tasks, to go through Lead Sherpa and know how to send the text messages, to do cold calling, all that. She's my in-house trainer. She trains the VAs after she finds them and we hire them. She makes $6 an hour. She works 40 hours a week. She's basically a headhunter. And the cool thing is when you have, so you guys, I hired from Upwork.com forever, and we still I would go that route. I don't need to go to Upwork.com anymore because now Hazel does that, but she's only been doing that for me for about a month or so, and she is freaking amazing. And we just take it off our plate. We don't even deal with it anymore. So she'll bring us candidates, and she's already pre-screened. She'll take 20 candidates for one position, pre-screen them down to 3, and then we get to pick from there. So it's pretty nice. And then once she hires them, once we make decisions, she trains them and makes sure they know how to run the systems in my company. So it's pretty cool. We had a question. Let me see here. Do you have an interview sheet that your VA used to find other VAs? If so, if we can have it. Well, we have all that stuff, and I believe it's in your training, but I'll follow up on that and see. I'm pretty sure you guys have access to that, but let me write that down. We have the How to Hire guide. You guys have my How to Hire guides? All that? You have all that, right? It should be in there, but I'll follow up. Okay, so that's Daisy, or I'm sorry, that's Hazel. All right, so the next gal, her name is Priscilla. Okay, her name is Priscilla. Now, I just started this. Priscilla is an amazing human being. She's only been with me she started on June 22nd. Okay, so she's been with me about a month. Actually, a month today. So just so you guys know, Hazel started April 2nd. And looks like Daisy, Daisy's been 5 years. So Priscilla started June 22nd. We put her in investor relations. She's directly communicating with the investors that own properties that we manage. Every single month, we reach out to those investors and we see if they have any questions on their owner statements. Now, I was told by my team, you would never be able to find a VA to do this position. This is a job that I used to pay people $50,000, $60,000 a year to do. So she reads their owner statements, comes up with expenses, sees expenses that's on the owner statements, knows that the owner is going to ask what that is, does the research on what happened. Like, let's say there's a $20 maintenance charge or a $50 maintenance charge, finds out more detail. And then when she gets a hold of the owner, she then has that conversation of what happened. So, I mean, it's just, I paid her $6 an hour to start. And she now, after 2 weeks, I raised her to $8 an hour because it's just, I can't believe, I really didn't know that this position could be done. But she does, communicates with all the investors and the owners. She reviews owner statements, tracking credits and inputting all the details needed in spreadsheet, notifies investors of any vacancies coming up. So if we get a notice from a tenant that they're going to move out, we make sure we notify the investor that owns that house. And then she also tracks any delinquencies. So she's always, if somebody's not paying, she's making sure she is communicating that with the owner. So it's just she's done an amazing job. She works 40 hours a week and $8 an hour. Okay. Now, next gal, her name's Precious. Precious. She started June 15th. And she is my e-commerce. She is my e-commerce VA. So what we're doing is I have a warehouse, 18,000 square feet, lots and lots of product, 2,400 SKUs. And we buy that stuff up to 80% off what you would buy if you went into Lowe's or Home Depot. But 80% off isn't good enough. So we're trying to buy direct from China right now. So Precious is her job. She works 40 hours a week. Every single day she gets up to try to take an item, what we have out of our 2,400 SKUs, she tries to take that item and source it directly to China and finds out the price, not only to find out, first she's got to find out a manufacturer to make it. Then she's got to find out how to ship it to Shanghai. Then she's got to figure out how to ship it from Shanghai to Long Beach or Chicago by boat. Then it's got to get from there to the Quad Cities, and I need to know what it's going to cost for all that shipping and how many minimum quantities we got to buy and all this stuff. She makes $6 an hour, works $40, works 40 hours a week, and she researches for direct suppliers to China, compares prices compared to what we already have, looks for the most cost-effective supplier, gets quotes and prices for each material. Gets all shipping costs and gets actual pictures and packaging, and then sends an update and updates us every single day. She has a running spreadsheet. So here's some cool stats for you guys. Something that I buy, let's say Home Depot, you can buy this item for $2, okay? I buy that item for $1 or $1.10. We're sourcing that same thing from China for about 10 cents. That's how much money you can save if you go direct to China. Now you still have shipping and stuff like that, but the savings is amazing. So before long, my cost of my materials will be a couple percentage points of what it was. It'll be like 1,000% cheaper. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's Precious. Now we have Leslie. Leslie is somebody I communicate with every single day. I don't talk to a lot of these VAs, but Leslie, I really like Leslie, and I give her special projects to work on. She was only working about 10, 15 hours a week. And I tell you guys, I have computers. Like there's a laptop right there. There's another one over there. We have a whole bunch in the office. Amanda has an extra one at her house. And we have VAs log in to these computers through TeamViewer And I was watching Leslie work one day because she was working on the computer right behind me. And I couldn't believe how fast the screen was moving. I thought it was like a joke. It was going so fast. I just couldn't believe it. And I asked Amanda, I'm like, who in the heck is working on this computer in my office? And she's like, that's Leslie. And I'm like, what do we pay her? And she's like, we pay her $3 an hour. And I'm like, well, she's amazing. How many hours a week does she work? And she's only working like 10 or 15. But Amanda's like, she really wants to work more than that. So I'm like, not only are we going to give her 40 hours, but we're going to raise her to $4 an hour. So we bumped her up to a dollar an hour to $4 an hour. And I'm getting ready to bump her up again. She works 43 hours a week. And let's see here. So she does all our Craigslist ads. Anything that's listed on Craigslist, she does. And then what I have her do is every single day, Leslie has to give me 40 new cash buyers. Okay, so she's my cash buyer person. We created a system to scrape cash buyers. She goes in there. You know what? That reminds me too. I need to see. I got to make sure you guys have that. Let's see, cash buyers process. Make sure you guys have that. But we go in there, and so she goes in there. She finds the cash buyers. She puts them to a list, and then she sends them an email. So we created email templates to get a hold of them. So she has to do a process. Not only does she have to find the cash buyer, then she has to figure out what their email is. Email is one of the most important things you guys can do. You should be anytime you're building any kind of list, you should have an email. Okay, that's the most effective form of communication, even better than texting, even better than calling. You should be able to send an email and sell a house. Okay, email is the most important thing. The only reason I have social media is to scrape emails. Okay, that's it. So I want somebody's email address so I can email them. That's the best form of communication. Some people will say texting, and I say they're wrong. So what she does is I like to go on podcast shows. I can build my social media from podcast shows. So I have her find my podcasters. I just basically taught her how to scrape podcast shows. Then she contacts them with an email template I built, sends them the email. Then anybody that responds back saying, hey, we really like this guy, we want to have him on our podcast, she sends me that lead. But she also pulls the cash buyers, and I also search for turnkey buyers. So I sell turnkey properties, but I also search the entire country for turnkey providers because those people buy a lot of houses. And so I might be able to sell them education. I might be able to trade a buyer that, let's say I have a buyer that I don't have enough houses for. I could send that buyer to that guy and have him sell a house to him, and then they pay me a piece of that. So I'm always adding turnkey buyers to my list, and we're emailing them every single day. Okay. And then I have her find me daily influencers too, like on Instagram. And I don't really know, not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that list, but I give it to her because I want to build the list out. So I don't really do much with that yet. And then Leslie is the one that does the research to find the emails to send our tenants. That's part of her job. And then she's responding to the Craigslist ads and inputs Craigslist respondents into Appfolio guest cards. Okay. Leslie's flat out amazing. Oh, she's super nice too. Well, they're all super nice, but she just seems overly nice. Daisy will. So Leslie reports to Daisy, but she also reports to me because I have her work on stuff for me. And Daisy, she's funny because the other day Leslie sent an email that Leslie, Amanda, and Daisy were all communicating on an email. And I asked Leslie a question. I always reply all. Like, that's a rule in my company. When you reply all. So you don't take somebody off everybody's got to be in the know. So I reply, I had a question for her. She only replied to me. And so a day went by, and Daisy realized, I don't know how they track all this stuff either, but Daisy was like, hey, I never saw a reply to this email yesterday. What are you doing? And Leslie's like, I just replied to Matt only. And Daisy's like, no, you have to reply all so we all know what's going on. I just thought it was kind of cool that, one, Daisy caught the fact that, somebody didn't reply, and Daisy probably gets 1,000 emails a day, but then jumped in there and got on Leslie's case for not replying all. And then Leslie was super sweet and had a nice response. And even though she was getting in trouble, she was still super nice, which is part of what you have to do if you want to work in my company. Okay. The next girl we have, her name's January. She started in May of this year. Now, January, she works 40 hours a week, and so if you call my office and you want to look for a property to rent, you're calling the local number to my office, but you're actually talking to January, and she's in the Philippines. So her full-time job is front desk. She answers questions about rental properties. If somebody says, hey, what is this house by, or what's this, or, typically when people want to rent a house, they look online, they see pictures, they have questions. She answers those questions. She creates the guest card. She sends them text messages. She sets all the showing schedule. So she communicates with all the leasing agents, and then is constantly texting and communicating with all the leads. And then she sends a report every single day to Kaylin on what she does. $6 an hour is what she makes. You'll find that most of my VAs make about $6 an hour, because I try to pay them a little bit more than the average wage. I just like to. It's really cheap, and it's worth it. Farhana's been 3 years, a little over 3 years. She works 60 hours a week, and she makes $6 an hour. Let's see here. She does a lot. She does a lot of closing related tasks. So when we close a house, she follows a whole bunch and making sure we have a rental license. We have the landlord applications, utilities she does. So she handles the utilities, utility checks. She also does a lot of stuff on special websites for tenants. Like, for example, she gets a hold of all the colleges and universities to make sure they know about our vacant properties. She managed my, she used to manage my social media, but I don't have her do that anymore. I do that myself. She removes listings once they're rented. Like I said, she used to do all my Instagram, Twitter. I didn't even know I had a Twitter account, but evidently I do. But she used to do all that. Let's see here. She managed my LinkedIn too, and she ran that. She got that up to 10,000. And I literally, I don't do anything with LinkedIn. But yeah, does a lot with Appfolio, work orders, Craigslist sometimes. So she also follows up with all the investors that if they miss a document. So she's into the documents that are uploaded into Appfolio. And if any investor misses a document, she gets a hold of them and lets them know that they need to, hey, you forgot to sign this one page. So she kind of audits the documents we upload. Okay. Let's see. And then we have April. April, she doesn't work a lot of hours. She's been with us 2 years. It's showing that she only does 10 hours a week. Amanda, she works directly for Amanda, and Amanda doesn't give her a ton to do. So she's my only part-time VA. She scrapes Zillow, scrapes Facebook Marketplace, and scrapes Craigslist every single day for deals for us to buy. That's her only job. And then if Amanda, if one of the other VAs gets overloaded and has overflow, Amanda automatically pushes it to April because she knows April has time in her schedule. I probably need to give April more work to do But here's one unique thing about April. She's not allowed to be on the phone because where she lives in the apartment complex, she's, keep in mind, these VAs are working third shift, their time, first shift, my time. And she works in she lives in an apartment complex, and they're not allowed to have phone calls at night at 3:00 in the morning their time. So she can't be on the phone. So that limits what we can have her do, which is why she just pulls leads for us. But she makes $4 an hour, so she's not making a ton of money. But she's a good worker. Okay, so that's her. Next, we have Aiden. He runs our maintenance department. Now, he just started. We had our maintenance coordinator like 3 weeks ago, had a family emergency, health issues with somebody in his family. He couldn't work for us. So, like I said, when somebody quits or gets fired, we input a VA. So he runs maintenance. We're building out. This is pretty cool. This isn't done yet. I'm gonna sell this for a lot of money when we are done with it, though. Is he's building out an FAQ. So maintenance is one of those. I mean, think about this. This guy's running maintenance. Think about what could break in a house. Think about every possible scenario. Could be a lock on a window, could be a window pane broken, could be a closet rod, could be a faucet, could be a cabinet door, could be a tree limb came down. I mean, there's literally a million possible things that could break in a house. And they're calling a VA who lives in the Philippines to ask, and this guy's got to find somebody to go fix that item. So here's how we're doing it. We're building out an FAQ. So, when an item comes up that needs to be fixed, he'll simply search for that item, and that item will pop up in this FAQ, and it will tell him in this FAQ how to handle that solution or what the solution is to that problem. So, hey, you've got a limb down. Okay, here's what you say. Here's who you send it to handle the problem. So we're building all this out with him. So every single day, as he takes maintenance calls, he has to input in the FAQ what that problem was. Then somebody from my team, so he's kind of getting his hand held right now as we build this out. Somebody from my team says, here's the solution. We've just never documented this before. We've always just trained people and they knew how to handle the scenario, but I wanted a documentation process on this so anybody can run maintenance from here on out. So that, like I said, this one position probably saved us $40,000 a year. So after we get this thing built, it's going to be pretty crazy, but it'll allow us to fix any single problem that ever comes up in maintenance with a VA forever. So he makes $6 an hour. And his background was maintenance. He did maintenance in the Philippines. He's been a maintenance coordinator. So it's, he's already familiar with, he knows the lingo on fixing stuff. Okay, and then our last full-time virtual assistant, her name is Cheryl. She's in property management. She does tenant screening. She makes $6 an hour. She just started like a week ago. So anytime how we run things in my company, we've tried everything. This is what works the best. You don't want your leasing agent to go in, take all the calls for people that want to rent a house, run all their own marketing, and then once they get a call, now they got to schedule their own showing. Now they got to go do the showing. Now they got to ask for the application. Now they got to screen the application, call landlord references, check credit, do sexual offender checks, verify their employment with an employer, paycheck verification, do all that. Then person gets approved or denied. And then if they're approved, then they move them in and they do sign the lease. We don't do it that way because that puts the leasing agent out of their unique ability. Think about the personality style that a leasing agent is. It's a DI personality. And if you give them C work, like on the disc test, if you give them C work, which is the whole tenant screening process, they just fail at it. So we run all of that stuff in our office. So we have our VAs place the ads for the vacant units. Calls come in, VA schedules, goes into a calendar, schedules the leasing appointments. That leasing agent then shows up and shows the unit, gets the documents that are needed, the application filled out, sends those in, and then the VA from there does all the screening, checks employment verification, calls the employer, does paycheck, verifies the paycheck, does tenant, the previous landlords, asks them for that check, checks their credit, checks the sexual offender piece, make sure that their income's high enough to afford the place. All that stuff is done by VA, so the leasing agent can just be showing houses, always showing. This is how we fill, this is why we keep a high occupancy with very minimal amount of leasing agents. And because we tell the leasing agent, listen, you don't get a full month's rent for leasing a unit, we're doing all the work. We're doing the ads. You don't have to place ads. We're taking all the calls. We're doing the pre-screening over the phone. We're setting up your appointments. We're screening the tenants, credit checks, landlord references, employment verification. You don't have to do anything. You have to show up and do this. So we only pay $200 to lease a house versus a month's rent, which most people do. So think about that. That's a lot. That's a big amount of savings there. It may be $300 that we pay. I can't remember. It's not a full month's rent. So, so think about the savings there on using somebody for their unique ability, and way less cost. So so that is all of what Cheryl does with property management. Eventually, I'm going to move her into collections. So if somebody doesn't pay by the 5th, she'll be on the phone with them, calling them and just reminding them that, hey, you need to pay your rent. What we found is over the years is 85% of the people pay their rent on time. 15% never pay on time. And so if you don't proactively call the 15%, they're going to try not to pay rent. But if you call them, they'll pay. So it's just like you have to hold some people's hands to get paid. And I talk to all my friends that own other businesses. They always say, Matt, that's exactly the same percentage with us. Whether I talk to one of my friends that runs an insurance company or whatever, they always say, yeah, about 15% of the people you got to call and remind them to pay every month. So she'll eventually move to that. So let's see here. We got Aiden, Cheryl. There's 2. Daisy's 3. Hazel's 4. Priscilla's 5. Precious is 6. Leslie is 7. January is 8. Farhana 9. And April 10. 10 VAs. Now I think we have all of the VAs that I need for right now, but we'll see how it goes. The only other positions, I mean, really for us, the only other positions that we could really put a VA in, well, we do have a VA. So Lance, that does all of our punch listing and does the blueprinting, we're actually going to hand the blueprinting part off to a VA to do that. Tyler just found a guy and he's testing him right now. Right now, the way it works, Lance goes into the house, takes the measurements, comes back to the office, and creates the blueprint in the office. I want to remove the office work from him, keep him out in the field, and he can just send the dimensions to a VA that will fill out and create the blueprint. That's way cheaper and way more efficient. Lance makes way more money than a VA would, and it just keeps him out in the field more, which is where I need him. Other than that, we don't have any other immediate needs for a VA right now, unless we just keep growing and have to just add staff. So any questions on anything I just covered? Any ideas that just got sparked in your mind? Where do you guys need to add VAs? What do you think you could do to offload some work off of your plate and onto a VA?
I got a question about Leslie.
Yep.
So Yeah, so when you're a cash buyer reaching out, where is she scraping this? And then what is that sequence of how you're sending an email, you said through MailChimp, and more or less, vetting these cash buyers as to what they're looking for?
What I'm going to do, Hans, is I'm going to get that for you, and I'm going to just give you my whole process.
Okay.
I'll just make sure I get it to you, and we'll
I
just
appreciate
send
that.
it to you. But the quick, easy answer is she's doing this from multiple directions. One is I told you guys I buy this software. It's like $50 a month. I gave you guys an affiliate. If you need me to resend it to you, I can.
Yeah, cash
But-
buyer data feed, right?
Yep, you got it. So she pulls that. And then that pulls leads. And what she does now, we have the name, but we don't know how to contact them. So I wrote up a simple sequence on how to Google search for somebody's name and email. And then what we do is we use another website that's super cheap that you can input somebody's name and it'll give you their email to a almost perfect match. So she runs it through that whole process. Now we have their name, we know what their name of their company is, and we have their email. And then she can send them an email to contact them, and we can add them to our list. What happens is one thing's important. If you build an email list, you have to be emailing the email list, right? If you're not warming those people up, and it takes a little time. You have to almost create like a little sequence that they don't know who you are. Why is this guy emailing me? How did he get my email address? Why do I want to do business with him? Like, you have to warm them up for a minute too, but I'll get you that whole sequence and we'll upload it to you guys.
Awesome. And then the other one is when you have leads coming in that you have missing information, do you have, so you're reaching back out before it gets to, the actual inbound acquisitions guy, and this person reaches out and fills in all of that information. And what type of personality and disc did you find to have that person? They were just good with English that they then reach out?
It's funny because, Amanda's the lead manager. She manages all the leads coming in. She has Daisy do that part, and Daisy's English isn't amazing. But she's the one that's been with me forever. She's just like robotic. She's really good. But so what happens is let's say the lead sheet's just missing some important stuff. There sometimes. So the way our marketing works is if we pull a list and send direct mail, or somebody picks up the phone and calls the postcard, it goes to answer one. Okay, answer one fills out that lead sheet, and a lot of people, they just hurry answer one through the call really fast, and they only give them a couple pieces of information. Then Amanda sees that, and instead of Amanda calling and spending her time to do it, she hands it off to Daisy to call and fill it in. But her English isn't amazing, but she does a good job at it. I'll get a little more clarity from Amanda on that, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Got that written down too. What else? Any other questions, you guys? No messages? Sai, you got a question?
I saw that your I guess 9 out of 10 of the VAs were women. Is it kind of maybe that's where the chips fall, or do you tend to realize that they tend to work better?
I don't know. I don't know why that is. Other than, to be honest with you, I mean, even if you look at my company, like the people in my office, 75% of the people that work for us are women. And I think that they interview well and just really do a good job. So I'm not sure if, I don't even do the hiring anymore and haven't for years. But I just think they interview the best and they're the best candidates. I don't think that's by design. I don't think it's like, hey, let's only hire women. It's just how it kind of works out, I do know that, I don't know if it's, my personal opinion of this could be that you take most women are like, if they have kids, they learn how to multitask. They learn how to get a whole bunch of stuff done, even though they're, raising kids too, a lot of times. I don't know if that makes them amazing at the stuff they do. I'm not sure, but it just seems like they do a good job. It's not by design.
Matt,
Yep.
who makes your offers to the sellers?
That is my acquisitions guy, Eric.
Is he in the United States?
Yes, he is boots on the ground. Eric went to Augustana College, which is a local university. And while he was in college, and right after college, he worked in sales, and he sold, his job was to sell scholarships to sell packages on how to get scholarships if you're in high school getting ready to go into college. So basically, there's a business out there where kids that are in high school that want to go to college but don't necessarily know how to get a scholarship, they would sell the how-to on that. And he was the top guy in that company. He was selling the most. He was, every single year, he was the top sales guy. And it doesn't matter if somebody is in real estate or sales of any kind, if they know how to sell, it doesn't matter what the product is. So when I look for a sales guy or an acquisitions guy, I can teach them real estate. That's easy. That's follow a list and do this. But sales is a little harder to teach. Now, I did take Eric through the John Martinez training when I hired him. But there's better training now, you guys. And I can hook you up if you ever want to go through it. It isn't cheap, but Steve Trang, a good friend of mine, has sales training as well. I've personally been through that twice, and he does a really, really good job with sales and conversions. So that's who makes the offer. So Amanda tells Eric what he has to offer. Eric's job is to get that offer accepted. That's how we control price.
Thank
Amanda
you.
does the comps. Amanda does the comps. She figures out what it's worth. She does an estimate on the rehab. She says, hey, we can't pay more than this amount. Eric, here's your price. Go figure it out. Go make it happen.
So I think maybe that's where I'm making a mistake, because we just started our text campaign, and my my VA is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
We're only on day 2, but I think she's getting discouraged because she's not closing deals, and I'm trying to explain to her, like she's just new, but I'm not. She's great on everything else, but I'm thinking maybe I need to find somebody, keep her, but find somebody that could do the negotiating.
Yeah, and that might be you, Tara. I mean, that's kind of like that might be your unique ability,
Oh, you mean have me negotiate?
Yeah. Or do you not like that idea?
I do not like negotiating.
Okay, well then that's not the thing that you should be doing.
I'm actually pretty good, because I had a job where I would travel to China 3 times a year, and I was negotiating my product. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to see how it works out. But
I would do this. I would give her a price and see if she can get the price, accepted.
Oh, I know what it is. Okay, so what she's having a difficult time doing is getting information out of people. So she's saying, can you help me with this ARV? And I said to her, but we need to have some sort of information, whether it's pictures or, the condition of the house. And there's a way to get information out of people without actually having the pictures. So
here's the thing is, you're maybe skipping one step. Okay, there's 2 things you can do here. So post COVID, it's really, really normal to have the seller send you pictures of the house. Okay, that's pretty normal. The conversation is super simple. It's, hey, Mr. Seller, what we like to do is we'll send you a Dropbox link. You take pictures and upload them into Dropbox, and then we'll go from there. We do it this way now because then you don't have to come in contact with us, and it keeps you safe. And people actually like it. Like that works. Now, 2 out of 10 people are going to say, I don't know how to use Dropbox and I don't have a good camera. So then you will have to get a picture person over to get those pictures. Okay. So that's something that you can hire out super, super easy on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or swap sites. Everybody and their brother has a camera, and finding a picture person is really, really easy. Now, you only want to do that once you've identified a deal that is really promising. So you may have to make, if you're having trouble with trying to figure out what it's worth, you can always just take the square footage, beds and baths, and come up with an after repaired value. You can do that on your own. You don't need pictures. Now, what you don't know, without pictures, you don't know what the condition is. You really don't know how much work it's going to need. So you can just be safe and say, hey, I'm going to guess at the rehab based on what it's saying. And then once you go do a physical inspection, again, with a picture person and a walkthrough sheet, then from there you can say, Mr. Seller, you told me this thing was in good condition. I've got the pictures right here. It's just not. It's like this house needs some work, and here's my estimate. My price is no longer good. Here's the price I would need.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So you're Terry. What I would do if I was you is I would have your VA place an ad on Craigslist and see if you can find a picture person.
Okay.
You're going to need, and this is not somebody you have to keep busy. It's just a one-time, hey, if I need you, I need 30 pictures, $25 or whatever. You know, Terry, you live in a more expensive area, so it might cost a little more, but just have that person on standby.
I could actually probably do that. I just, like, I'm trying not to overlap the real estate agent responsibilities with this. Because once I get caught, then.
Don't even do that part. You don't need to waste your time with that part anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. Great advice.
Yep. You got it. By the way, the guy that provides the sales training, Steve. So who asked that? Ray? That's Steve Trang, Trang. Make sure you mention my name. He charges he does on-site. I'm not exactly sure on his pricing. It's like $5 or $6 grand, I think, but it's really, really good. Like it's good.
Is that a virtual sales training, or is it?
He does have virtual too. I've been to 2 of his live trainings, and I really liked it a lot. The virtual one's a lot less. I think that's a couple grand, something like that.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
But if you guys want, if you're serious about wanting me to connect you with him, just to find out more information, so obviously you don't have to get locked into a deal unless you know what it is. Just let me know, and I will I'll send you guys to him directly. I'll help you. Okay. Plus, I think he gives any of my students better deals. What else? Any other questions? Does it open up your eyes a little bit on what you can have these guys do?
I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead, Si.
So for your sales guy, is there a formal review process, like do at the end of the week, does somebody listen to his phone calls or check how he's negotiating, or is he just kind of he knows what he's doing and he's got free reign?
I did that in the beginning. He's been with me now, 3 years. So I don't really do that anymore. I probably should, but I don't. But I just never get any complaints about him. And he's just really, really efficient. Like today, he told me, he said, so every Monday, Amanda reaches out to him and says, hey, what's it look like for the week? And he's doing 30 walkthroughs this week on houses to buy. One guy, 30 walkthroughs. So I'm probably going to be buying some houses, which is good.
And how do you pay him? Is he commission, hourly plus so much, or what was established?
$1,000 a deal.
Just flat fee and that's it?
Yep. $1,000 a deal, and I pay him and I pay for his health insurance too, and all that. Like I'm sorry, I pay $325 of his monthly health insurance, which for him, he's only 25 years old or 6 years old. So his monthly premium he needs to pay is less than that. So that means I pay for all of his health insurance. Being the younger you are, health insurance is really, really cheap. So other than that, though, I don't pay him any other benefits or salary, just $1,000. But if he closes a bunch of houses, he makes really good money.
Yep.
One thing I'm testing right now, guys, as far as the disposition side, you guys should pay attention to this because I think this is going to work really well. And I think all of you guys could take advantage of this. I'm testing. So Eric that I mentioned, he's acquisitions. So we send out the marketing, the leads come in, Amanda finds the best deals. Amanda tells Eric where to go and what to offer. He negotiates and gets those locked down. That's acquisitions. For dispositions, I'm going to start, I'm going to try something for wholesaling on the wholesaling side. I have a guy named Steve in my office who does dispositions on turnkeys and stuff like that. But for wholesaling, it's always been kind of like me and Amanda and maybe a VA. And I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't want to be involved in that. And I don't really want Amanda to either. So what I'm doing is I think this is going to work really well. When I get a house under contract, you guys saw where the one VA sends it to Zillow, Craigslist, and Facebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hold of a wholesaler. I've already gotten a hold of him. I already talked to him. We're testing this idea right now. I just sent him 2 houses today. But I'm giving that wholesaler a price. Okay. Listen, I got this house under contract for, I don't even tell him what I got it under contract for. But let's say like one of them today, I got under contract for $7,500. Okay. It's not a bad house. We just got it really cheap. I told him I would sell it for $17,500 to him. And then I don't care what he marks it up from there. So if he can get $30,000 out of it, great. Go make $12,500. All I care about is I want $17,500 for the house. So I can do an option agreement with him where he has legal right to sell that house, and then he can go make as much as he wants on it. As long as I'm getting my price, I don't care how much he makes. This is going to eliminate me ever having to do dispositions again. I make the money. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to talk to buyers. I don't have to set up walkthroughs, nothing. I just make my price. So that's how I'm testing it right now. I told him I want to test it for the next month, see how it goes. And if it works really well, that's my new model. It's just, the older I get, the less I want to work. I don't care about if somebody else makes a lot of money off me, great. If I'm making my profit, I don't care.
And then on the disposition side, is there rules changing about posting on public marketplaces, Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook, or is that not really taken into effect? Nothing.
I think it depends on where you're at.
Okay.
I heard like in Oklahoma, they were talking there was some stuff today that, or some stuff pre-COVID that was kind of like rustling around, and then COVID hit and it kind of just fell by the wayside. I've heard that Ohio has some special rules, but I've got so many friends that wholesale in Ohio. They've never had a problem. I know Illinois changed the laws January 1st where you can't assign contracts anymore. It has to be a double close or you have to be licensed. But that's about all I've heard on that
So
stuff.
you guys are continuing to do that on Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook, and
Yep.
You're not seeing anything.
Not changing anything. But here's the one thing. If I ever got, it's never a, hey, you can't wholesale. It's a, are you licensed? Are you a licensed agent? And if you are, you have to, or if you want to wholesale, you have to be a licensed agent. That's what they're saying in Illinois. If you're going to sign contracts, you have to be a licensed agent. So we are a brokerage. If I wanted to run it through my brokerage, I could. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not doing that right now because that adds an extra step of complexity that I don't want to deal with. So we're just following the rules, but you know, you just have to kind of pay attention if anything changes. But to my knowledge, now I don't know every state, but to my knowledge, Illinois was, if you're signing contracts, you have to be a licensed agent. And I know there's something in Ohio similar to that. And then I heard something about something was going on in Oklahoma, but I don't think it ever passed. It just got introduced. But those are the only ones I've heard. So
would you think it's coming down the tubes that you would recommend getting licensed at some point, or you say it's not worth it still?
I don't think you should worry about it until you see it. You can get licensed so fast. Like I wouldn't get super concerned with it right now.
All right.
And to be honest with you guys, with all this COVID stuff happening, they aren't going to pass anything. It's going to be COVID for the next year. That's what people are worried about. So that's how I would do it.
Thank you.
Good stuff, guys, gals. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to jump off. I got some stuff that I'll get to you guys. You probably won't see that until tomorrow, but I'll get it to you guys tomorrow. Okay.
I have a quick question. Sorry,
Yeah.
nobody can see me. So Matt, how long does it normally take you to figure out if the VA is good or not? Because I've gone through 2 now, and like what kind of tasks would you, like, for example, I'm looking for someone to just do cold calling for sale by owner.
Mm-hmm.
So like how many calls, or like how many hours should I get them to kind of,
I mean,
what's the probation period?
You should know if somebody's cold, like, first of all, record, are you using Mojo or something like that?
No, not yet. I need to figure all that
okay.
stuff out.
Well, have them record some calls and send you the recorded calls and see how they sound.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that I do. And then secondly, and make sure, by the way, you have to follow the laws with that. Like, I don't know the laws are in every state, but in some states, if you're going to record somebody, you have to tell them, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm recording this call for quality assurance. And if they say, no, I'm not comfortable with you recording the call, you can't record the call.
Okay.
So make sure you know that. But, and not every state is that way. Some states, they don't require both parties to agree. Like I know, for example, in Missouri, you don't need 2 parties to agree to a recording call. You can recall somebody and it's hidden and they don't have to approve. So just make sure you know that. And you can Google that information to find that out. But nobody, if you say, hey, I'm recording this call for quality assurance, almost nobody would say, no, you can't do that. So just make sure if you are recording the call, you say, I want to record the call for quality assurance. That's one thing. So you can check that. But secondly, if you're giving them leads and they're not converting those leads into lead sheets, like people want to sell their house, if they're not making any connections and you're not seeing leads come in, that's not good. There's something wrong. Like a cold caller working 40 hours, I mean, they should be bringing you 20, 30 leads a week at least. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up on me. Can't hear you. Can you guys hear her?
No, she's breaking out.
Hey,
That's my problem.
Leah, I couldn't hear a word you said there. You broke up on me there. Can you hear me?
Auto-tune.
I think she's in a bad area.
Or maybe she types it up in the chat.
Because when I was doing it,
Hey, Leah, can you hear me? Oh, I think we just lost her. Wait, are you there? Yeah, I think we lost her.
yeah, sorry.
There you are.
I'm back.
I couldn't hear a word you said. Like it was a whole conversation was broke up.
Oh, well, I just said, like, when I was doing myself for sale by owners, I would go on 2 appointments a day. And if they're
Yes.
not getting me at least that, then like something's off. Clearly.
Right. Correct. So just use that standard. Use the same standard.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Good
If there's
stuff,
no
Matt.
other,
Thanks.
no problem. If there's no other questions, I'm gonna jump off. You guys good?
We're good.
All right. All right. Well, hey, I'll see you guys. You got somebody else on Friday? Well, I know not everybody's on every week, but I'll be back next Wednesday, and I'm going to be talking about. Oh crap! Hang on. Locking down deals in a hot market. So don't miss next Wednesday, you guys.
Ooh,
That sounds good.
yes, yes.
All right. Well, hey, I'll see you guys soon. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Matt. Have a
All
good
right. See
weekend,
ya.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.